AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe. Hold up. Let me make sure the camera's right. Let me make sure the camera's tight. Are we live?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me make sure the camera's right. Let me make sure the camera's tight. Are we live? Oh, yeah. Big Flea, CEO here, back at it again. Y'all back at it again. Y'all, are we live? Y'all, are we live? Episode 2 on the AllBall TV YouTube channel, y'all. We appreciate everybody that's going to tap in with us tonight for a special conversation with one of New York City's finest, y'all. We have a guy that embodies the word point guard. Do your homework. If you don't know who this brother is sitting with me, a back-to-back PSAL champion, first team all city back-to-back years, then stayed home at the crib and played at St. John's. We got a first team all Big East player, 1993. This big stuff right here with this brother that's sitting with me tonight. Please help me welcome to the show, y'all, Mr. David Cain.
What's good, brother? I like that intro. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I left some things out because we gonna get to it, man. But
okay,
David, thank you so much for tapping in with me on Are We Live on the AllBall TV YouTube channel, man. This is an honor and a pleasure to sit down and rap with you. As I said, before we got this thing going, I'm a true student in the game, and I love just chronicling journeys and rapping with brothers that made a huge contribution to the game. So, thank you again, man.
No doubt, no problem, bro.
So for me, man, I like to start these conversations at the beginning, at the inception of this thing, and everybody has a different introduction to the game of basketball. I'm curious for you, brother. What was your introduction to the game, and how did you fall in love with it?
Oh man, I think it started. I don't know, young. We used to play on the garbage cans. We couldn't, take the bottom out the garbage cans, and we had them hanging on the fence in the schoolyard around our way. That was the introduction. We played on the garbage cans. My first time playing under the whistle was like an intramural tournament down in Melbank, down in Harlem, Saturday morning, and that was my first time under the whistle and playing under rules and kind of not knowing nothing about nothing, just out there, just out there, just playing. And that was my introduction to learning the rules of the game, learning how to play under the whistle, and then we just kept gradually growing from there, man. Like, from there, got a little better. Ended up making the Gauchos. That was that was like my introduction into like real basketball at this point now, and it's just been a journey from there on. From there on up. I don't know how far you want to chronicle it in type of
sure. We're gonna get to it all. I'm a guy that does my homework. I'm a guy that ain't gonna waste none of your time here. I hope you enjoy the time that you spend here with me and AllBall TV, man, for real. Okay. So you a Harlem brother. Harlem brother. But you played your high school basketball in the Bronx, so that's kind of the same area, right? Harlem, the Bronx, everybody, But for you, take me back to that time. We talking about the 1980s. We talking about New York City, a completely different era. What's the basketball culture like during the time that you're coming up in the 80s in Harlem?
Well, it was crazy as far as the AAU scene, really. Like I was the Gauchos. We was, those two, Gauchos Riverside at that time. Those are the two premier programs in New York City. So anybody that was anybody even played with one of those two teams for the most part. And that introduced, we did the traveling, we did the AAU scene, going across the country and all that. But even back then, though, playing ball in the park was what it was at that time too. You know what I'm saying? Like we play, back then, I think we only played on the weekends. We had games on Saturday or Sunday, unless we was out of town. But the rest of the days during the week, we was just playing ball all day, every day. And I think, one of the things I think is missing from this generation right here. And I was telling myself, when you grow up playing under the whistle, you miss out on a lot because you don't get that. I don't want to say not tough. Well, yeah, toughness, because anybody who from our era who played in the park, when that game got to 36 up, you couldn't even end the game without it being an and one. So you without it being an and one. You're gonna learn how to score through contact with fouls. if you're gonna keep calling in the game, never gonna end. So you got to learn how. So it's little things you learn just going through that process. And I think that's what this generation is missing, man. This is a generation that come up playing in the gym, playing under the whistle. So everything is they look at as a foul compared to when we played. Right. Almost nothing was a foul. You know what I'm saying? So
they don't have the exposure to shoveling the yard or shoveling the playground to be able to go out there and play, you know, on the blacktop and really get to it, especially adding that toughness to your game. You use that word toughness, and I'm glad you did. Can you talk about how tough players develop outside playing in the park as opposed to just that in the gym under the whistle? What kind of exposure do you get, you know, when you're playing in the street ball?
Well, in the street ball or just pickup ball? Because
just period outside.
Like we played outside. So one, you got to be good enough to get on the court. That's number one. That's number one. Number two, you know, if you lose, you're sitting at least an hour. So that's why those games get so intense that when they get to 36, because nobody want to sit. And I'm talking about minimum of an hour. It could be two, could be three. So you learn all of that. And like I said, once you come up playing under that, then once you go under the whistle under that, everything is light after that, to be honest with you, because you know what you've been dealing with in the park for however many years. So when I really started playing, getting good and playing under the whistle, it was time. Originally, I didn't even know I was fouled when the ref called the foul because I was just so used to taking hits,
through it, right? Yeah,
playing through it. And I was blessed enough in my neighborhood where the older guys started letting me play with them whenever they were short one or two. But my rule was I couldn't call no fouls. So I never understood it back then, but they probably was preparing me. But it was probably one of the best things that happened for me too, because it made me tougher, but it made me just used to it. You know, after a while, the bumps that like nobody can never do nothing to me on the court physically that would get me off my game under a whistle because I already been through the trenches already in the park.
You know how to play through those things.
Yeah, and with the older guys talking crazy to you, hitting you for no reason. Yeah, let me see, you know, giving me all of that. Those was precious jewels that I think a lot of cats don't get today.
Yeah, they miss a lot of that. They miss a lot of that for sure. When you knew you was good, David, like everybody, you know, they be in the crib, they watch the game, they feel like their confidence is rising. But for you, when did you know you was like, oh shit, like I could do this, I'm good?
Probably my junior year, maybe around 15, 16. I mean, I was playing with the Gauchos, but we was stacked. It wasn't like I was the best player on that team. You know, I did what I did, but so we was always good. So I know I could play. Let me say that. I know I could play. But I guess when I got to high school, like I didn't start my sophomore year because our team was just that good. And, then my junior year, I started. We won the city championship. Now college coaches is coming around, coming to practice, all of that. And then we went to Vegas that summer, and I got MVP in Vegas. And I got MVP in Vegas. So that was like major. Like I'm like okay, like, and it was like one of those tournaments. It was deep, all across the country, the best of the best from everywhere. Yeah. So when I walked away with that, I was kind of like that was a major accomplishment, but I never looked at myself in that light like other people did, because I mean, like I'm in the same year as Kenny Anderson, right? So that's that's the bro right there. So he always was better than all of us. So when you gotta, when you looking at stuff, and then I studied the older cats that was like on the next level over us in the Gauchos, my man Arnold Bernard and Jamal Walker. So as good as I'm getting, I still got benchmarks that I'm looking at. That like, bro, you're not there. So I never really had a moment to say I arrived, but I think the Vegas situation is probably the closest one. Okay.
And as you, right. And as you beginning, to understand that you good at this game, right? You gauging yourself from the guys that are before you, and now you coming up and you win a city title as a junior. You starting on that team. How do you handle the new pressure or the new expectations from you? You a sophomore, you don't start, they got a good team, but now there's level of expectation because you playing now and you the point guard. How did you handle that?
I guess I guess for me, which I would tell a lot of people, I guess your personality off the court to kind of dictate how you handle things on the court or things that come from on the court. Like, so
Okay.
I'm raised a single mother, real strict. My mom, Jehovah's Witness. So I got a different upbringing that kind of keeps me grounded. You know, I had a daughter young when I was in high school also. So that give me a different level of maturity. Like, yeah, I'm enjoying basketball and whatever perks that come with it, but this is not who I am. And to this day, I've never really moved like I'm a basketball player. It's just what I do. It's not who I am. And I always kept that type of that frame of mind. So I never really like acting that's why I'm like good any and everywhere now, because I never acted no different with nobody. I never like, this is my time. I'm not fronting on nobody. I'm not doing any of that. Like, basketball, really, it was like, this is business. We handling our business, and then when it's over, then it's over. And I'm on my block, chilling with my friends who might don't play basketball. You know, like I never really got caught up in that like a lot of people like, yo, I'm that guy, or I'm moving like this or that. So for me, that was my thing. I'm always was grounded about the situation, and so I never even let it get to my head or anything like that. So it wasn't really hard for me.
Yeah, I love that. I respect the humility, man, because you know that's ego and basketball kind of go hand in hand, right? Everybody that plays,
that's what they tell us.
Right. It goes right. Exactly, Dave. Exactly, man. You made mention of your mom's being a little stricter, Jehovah's Witness. You spoke about having a daughter in high school, younger age, right? All of those things help you mature faster and kind of keep you focused. But besides those things, were there any mentors, any older guys in the neighborhood that kept you? You grew up in Harlem in the 80s. I'm sure it was easy to, stray away to the bullshit.
Yeah,
How did you
without
stay focused?
Well, when they say it takes a village, that's an understatement, because my neighborhood really, really held me down, and that's through any problems, any financial, anything I had an issue with, my neighborhood was there. So I always love for that. So that was one thing. I was playing with the Gauchos, so Dave McCullough was my coach for my whole probably 5 years there. Another father figure mentor to me, one who got me in Stevenson, you know what I'm saying, who recommended me going to Stevenson. I had a great high school coach, Mr. Post. He wasn't a father figure, but he was a mentor figure, you know what I'm saying? So he was strict, straight shooter. It wasn't you the man, you get to move how you want to move. He was actually harder on whoever was the man for whatever year. So, which I believe coaches should be, because once you set the tone with whoever your best player is, that's going to trickle down. So I had those three, obviously my mom, but those three outside of family, the neighborhood, because even and I'm not gonna lie, at times I might have thought about doing wrong, like, man, I want to get this, that, and the third. And my man, I'll never forget, my man, neighbor was like, what are you even thinking about that for? For what? To get some sneakers or something? I was like, man, go get some sneakers and get up out of here, man. Stop playing. Also, but that could have easily been the other one. Like, all right, well, come on, I got you. I got something for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's important who you're around, what mentors you got, what friends you got. I always see the saying, you tell a person, you see who a person hang out with, and you'll tell them what, who they are or what they're going to be. So and there's so many life decisions that everybody got to make growing up in Harlem or any hood, where you get to that fork in the road, and it's like, bro, either somebody gonna look out for you, shift you in the right direction, or they're gonna pull you in the wrong direction. And luckily, nobody ever, because we all impressionable at that age. And lucky nobody didn't take advantage of that for me. So I'm definitely blessed for that.
Yeah, I love that, man. Listen, we all aspire to play at the highest level, right? Anybody that picked up the basketball, if you love the game the way we love the game, you want to go to the league and all of that.
No doubt.
But for you, what was the ultimate goal with basketball? When you were sitting in the crib by yourself, just reflecting as a youngster, what was your goal with the game?
Man, it's funny because I never really had no goals until I got to college. Like, even when I went to high school, I wasn't really like, I'm just playing ball. I'm not even thinking of, I don't even know about how the college thing worked, recruit. Like, I don't know none of that at that point. That's how much I'm just playing, and I'm just going about my business. So so when I get to high school, we got two seniors, my man Billy Singleton and Reggie Galt. They was D1 players. So this is the first time I'm seeing like college coaches is coming to practice. To see them, and then the coach is like, hey man, when these coaches come see these guys, make sure y'all, don't forget they they looking at y'all too. Y'all here. So that's the first time I even got a inkling of basketball and college to go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, and you know, as that year, a little attention that day, but then the next year it started really like, all right, pretty much you going to college. You know, at this point I could piece that together. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
But we still not thinking league or nothing like that. You know, because I'm, you know, it's not around us. You know, like I was blessed to know like Ross Strickland. You know, if you knew somebody in the league at that time, that was just a blessing.
That was dope. Yeah,
that was dope. So it was just like, yo, but we going D1. Now you're going to college name, like you're going D1. Now, you know, so that was kind of like our goal at that point. Like, all right, we you know all our gauchos or dudes, Riverside, all right, we going to D1. You want to go so you can be on TV? You want to go somewhere, you know, you're going to play. So once you get that, like, that's the goal as far as I could have looked at that time. Then once you get to college and all that, it's like the same thing. You start learning the lay of the land, like NBA scouts and different things going on. You know, you learn what's those next steps. But as far as a younger, it was like, man, like I said, I didn't even think about college at 10th grade. You know, it's like, so I'm probably a late bloomer on the basketball mindset. But once I was going to college, you know, I'm the first of my family to graduate college. So
respect. I love that.
So my mom, she didn't never even care about no basketball. You know,
yo, my son getting a degree. I'm good.
He getting a degree.
My job.
I ain't gotta pay. So even when I was going through my basketball trials and tribulations, she ain't never cared. She ain't want to hear none of that. Like, I don't care if you playing or not. Like, yo, you better get that education.
That school getting paid for.
There you go. So that was always like the mindset of my family, and kind of probably shifted to me. Like, I'm just not on the rah-rah. I'm just here to take care of business. And, you know, when the league started becoming maybe a possibility, I'm like, all right, let's go for it. Okay. And then when it didn't happen, it's like, cool. You know, we move on to, then we just move on because, like I said, we got a daughter to take care of, and life don't stop for nobody, you know.
For nobody.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a shot, but if not, I got to keep on pushing, and that's just what I did.
That's dope. That's dope. I love that. Yo, you mentioned the Gauchos a couple times, Dave, and I would be remiss if I didn't dig into this a little bit.
No doubt.
Is there a rivalry back then between the Gauchos and Riverside, and if so, what was that rivalry like?
Well, it definitely, absolutely was a rivalry. There's definitely no denying that. But it was the like I said, I think that was the. I'll give an example. I was like, those felt like what we know now to be NCAA games, you know, like college games almost, because we was the two best teams in the city. So if we was ever in a tournament together, it was almost for certain that we was gonna meet in the champ. I don't even know if we ever played each other unless it was the championship, you know, whatever. So you know it's gonna be the championship. And like I said, we was stacked. You know, our team was stacked, bunch of D1 eventual players, and they had the same thing. So that's when you measure yourself at this point. And I'm one of them guys. I really don't get a lot of pleasure out of winning games that we supposed to win. That don't really do it for me. And really, at that point, they're our only measuring stick, really. Okay. So it's like, you know, like you play on the weekend, like, yo, the chip next week, we got Riverside. Now you got a whole week of build up. You answer like
to
this.
Prepare.
Like this what I'm waiting for. But this where you get to test your mettle at now, because beating all these other teams, this is what we were supposed to do. Anyway. We just more talented.
Right. We smoked everybody. But
but now it's like we got to equal now. Now these are the games that build up and let you know like who really about what at those points. So I definitely look forward to those. I treasured those games the most, man. We had some nice battles with them, man. Much respect to them.
That's dope. That's dope. That's two of the most storied AAU programs out of New York City ever. Like, you know, there's a lot of new stuff now, and that I respect it, but you know, you can never go
over those programs. Is crazy, man.
Oh, insane. A lot of pros, a lot of D1 players, Hall of Famers, right? Like this, the list is phenomenal. Street ball. That you go by the name The Director. You know, take me back to that time when they gave you that name, because you know nicknames are given, right? When they give you a nickname, it's dope, right? You can make your own shit up, but when you get a nickname, that's some dope shit, man. So talk to me about the origin of The Director and the type of effect street ball had on David Cain's game.
Yo, it's crazy. It's crazy you say that, because I never really played street ball till I got out of college. Like I played my neighborhood tournament, but I never went up to the Rucker, the entertainment Rucker, until I got out of school. And I was in school, I was always playing pro-am. And so the first time I played, a friend of mine took me to my band Eminem. That was the name of my team. We came, me and Red Orchard. We go there like midway through the season.
Big shout out to Red.
Big shout out to Red, doing his thing up in Syracuse.
Doing his thing in Syracuse.
Head coach in Syracuse. Let me make that right. The head coach Syracuse.
Head coach.
Head coach. So we go up there like middle of the season. We can't lose no games to make the playoffs at this point, but we go up there, play about 3 games. So they give, the energy is crazy. This is my first time up here. So they, at this time, they just calling us the Big East backcourt at this time.
Okay.
But this one, I got the origin of like what this was. We playing against Flavor Unit. Obviously everybody in New York know Flavor Unit. So they had Juan, Master Rob, God bless Big Strick, Curry. I mean, they stacked up. But
they got dogs. They got dogs over there, yeah.
Oh, but I didn't know the street. Like I said, I'm in my little Cancun, like over here.
Okay.
So who was it? I don't know if it was Curry or somebody came late. We on the free throw line. Somebody shooting a free throw, and the crowd just started roaring. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm just looking around like, what happened? Like me and Red kind of looking at each other like,
yeah.
Curry comes in late. Change. Like I'm like, yo, they loving like they giving the love up like that. Like the love to this. Let me keep. I came back the next year, play with my block, the X-Men.
Okay.
That's when the director came along. They gave me that name. We won the championship. We went undefeated, and they gave me that name up there. But it's crazy. We won that championship, and I tell you, no lie, the love in these streets from that championship is probably more than anything I did at St. John's. I swear to God, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know, because it's funny because I play ball, but I don't watch a lot of ball. Like I would never go to a game unless my homie is playing. I'm just going for support or just going to make people good getting in and out. So, but I don't watch a lot of tournaments or nothing like that.
Hold on, David. Stay right there, because I've heard other players say that, and I'm just curious. What is it about some of you guys that rather not watch the game? Just I'll play it, but I'm not really into just sitting there watching it.
Well, I'm not into being inconvenienced to watch it. Let me say that, because I don't know if I'll go to the Garden and stand to watch a game. I'm not. Rucker is like that, bro. I'm saying we played Rucker. We was in the championship. I never forget this. We in the championship that year. We're playing against Flavor Union championship. Championship game was at 8:00.
Okay.
I'm getting phones at 3:00. I'm getting phone calls at 3:00 saying, "Yo, the park is packed." I'm like, "What? It's 3:00." I said, "D, the park is packed for an 8:00 game right now." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I think I'm at work. I'm stretching. I'm hyped now.
You're like, "Oh shit, let me get right. Hold on, because
I don't want to put myself through that to go. Like you really got to be home team for me to go through that. I'm not big on crowds, being in crowds, and I really ain't big on standing up watching. I'm standing up to do anything, like So I'm just different. Even when we play, we go up there, we handle our business, and then I'm out of there. I'm right back downtown, to our block, and we chill, celebrate what we're gonna do down there. Like I tell you, I never was into like I'm a basketball player. I want all the glitz and glory that come with this being in the mix up there. I'm coming in the park, shouting you out. That's cool, but I'm not living for all that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm coming up here, I'm handling my business, and I'm going back to be with my people. And that's how I always looked at it. So I'm a little weird when it comes to that. But
I love the perspective, man, because everybody has different perspectives and how they look at the game and how they approach the game. And so, it's refreshing when guys are just real. Like, yo, the words you just used, I don't like to be inconvenienced. I've never heard somebody say it like that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, but that's what made it easy for me to move on from the game when it was time to, too, because I was never holding on to it. Like I know a lot of guys, like another 20 years holding on, just waiting for tournaments to come around, just being, bro, you got to get on to real life. So it was easy for me. And people say you stop too early, but I'm just like, bro, I'm trying to take care of mine. If basketball giving me that, let's get it. But if work ain't giving me that, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I care about. The ultimate goal is to take care of that baby girl. So however that got to go, that's how that got to go. So
Absolutely. We share in that. I got a daughter, and so I understand that feeling of, you know,
At that
just,
age,
I'm obviously
you know
a parent. Obviously
Yeah.
a parent, but that daughter, that girl, you know, that daughter is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
hit,
I'm not trying.
yeah, hit a little.
I'm
It hit a
saying
little
I
different.
can't do this and that because I'm trying to play bad. Nah, man, I ain't doing that. Like,
Yeah, hit a
when the
little different
opportunity
for
came
sure.
for me to start working, I jumped right on it. Like, all right, well,
Okay.
time to move on. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Kenny Anderson, Bobby Hurley, David Cain. We're talking about three of the best point guards in the country, not the city, y'all. We're talking about the country.
Yeah, that's a fact.
In 1989. I got that right?
Yeah, that's right.
1989.
That's right.
Take me back to that time, David, in terms of when you see your name next to two guys like that. Do you realize that, like, that's an honor, that's prestigious? Or again, are you just like, yo, I'm just here to hoop, man? I'm just here to hoop.
Nah, I appreciate it, and I know that was an honor. Like I said, I grew up with Kenny for the most part. Kenny played with us with the Gauchos a lot. So here and there, let me say that, here and there. So I always, so just to be in those conversations, I know is something. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely an honor. I always thought, and you know, I ain't got a problem saying this now. I always thought he was in the category by himself, and then me, Bob, and a few of us was after that. But they always tried to put Bob in his category and put the rest of us down here. So I definitely didn't like that. So I can definitely admit that. So, but Kenny, like I always give all the love, praise to Kenny because he was just special, and you don't get that many special talents like that too often. So, and I was young enough to appreciate it, and a lot of people couldn't appreciate it because we was competing against them.
Right.
But I can compete and appreciate. So I always, you know, give them mad love, and I tell the story like when I was going to St. John's, they was recruiting him too. And they told me, like, yo, we love you, but you got to wait to see, you know, Kenny is first dibs. We got to
let the ball drop. When the ball drops,
you gotta let the ball drop. And people, I tell that story, like, yo, I would have been like, F that. Like, yo, I'm like, nah, bro, you got to pay homage, man. Like, he was like that. That's not an insult to me for somebody saying we want Kenny Anderson first. But like all our peers at that time was like, you know, nah, you can't never say nobody better than you. And, you know, that's basketball machism, whatever it's called.
Machismo,
like,
yeah, for sure.
Machismo, yeah. So they like, somebody better than you. And I'm like, bro, we can say whatever we want. It don't change the facts. Like, this dude is different, man.
You felt like that, right? In 1989, Dave. And then 3 years later, this dude is the number 2 overall pick in the NBA draft. We're talking about a point guard out of New York City was the number 2 overall pick in the draft. So you was right. You was right. Like,
look, they know I was right.
right. Yeah,
they just don't want to say it. I'm like, bro, it ain't gonna stop us from doing nothing different when we play against them. But yo, I'm a real one, and I'm self-aware. Like, yo, I might give him 30 tomorrow at that time. But don't mean in the bigger picture, I don't know what it is. Like, bro, he probably really went pro from high school. He was that. Put it like this: when we was 15, they was like, "Yo, he's a pro." They wasn't talking like that about people in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? At 15, KA stopped playing on concrete. Now who thinking like that at 15?
Right.
For his people around him or whatever. So we already know where he's going. You know what I'm saying? You already know he's on that path. Hey, bro, no more concrete for the homie. He might do his little neighborhood tournament, but he never came to 5-star with us or none of that. And 5-star was the top summer camp in the
top.
80s.
Yeah.
I remember Garfinkel screaming he'll never be the number 1 player in the country. He don't come to my camp. And all us New Yorkers was like, yeah, okay, we'll see. You know, like, and he knew. He knew. And he came to Nike, quick story, he came to Nike camp that summer. And it was about 5 players in contention for number 1 player in the country. Like him, Jimmy Jackson, Lawrence Funderburg. It was about 5 of them. When we left that week, it was no dispute no more who was the number 1 player in the country.
That's dope. That's dope.
So I ain't got no problem paying. If I can come in second to him, I'm all right.
You good, Dave.
Yeah, I'm good money. I ain't got no problem with that.
You good.
Yeah.
Shit, you said.
Shout out to Kenny, man.
You said Lawrence Funderburg. I ain't heard Lawrence Funderburg name in a
You're
minute. He played with Jimmy. He played
basketball
with Jim
for
Jackson
real.
in college, right?
Yeah, Ohio
They
State.
both went to Ohio State, I think.
Yeah. See, you know.
Yeah. Yo, we'll talk offline, brother.
Okay.
I love this stuff. I love
Yeah.
love.
Well,
this
you know,
stuff,
we went
man.
to Nike camp back then. That was just like the top 100 players in the country, invite only.
Okay.
So if you ever get a copy of that roster or that list, there's some names on there, bro. Like
For sure.
Man,
For sure. Let me ask you something, Dave. Have you, when you were coming up, in New York City, PSAO, making your way towards St. John's, did you ever have any interactions with Tom Konchowski?
He was around all the time.
Okay.
I don't think at that time we was conversing with each other because Tom, he'd just have his glasses on, his notepad, God bless him, and just be writing. Yeah. So even if he spoke to you after the game, he was like, okay, that was almost enough at that point. So I never really had the conversations with him until I got older. But during those times, when he showed up, that was like almost having a college scout there for the most part, because he did his opinion mattered like that back then. So he always was at the big games, whatever. But we didn't get to have too much interaction with him at the time, though.
Yeah, I know. I always feel like our where we come from, New York City, right? And it always that was a stamp of approval, at least for me. I remember. Playing high school ball, and I look over and he walked in the gym with his yellow notepad and his glasses and his dirty ass trench coat. And he knows you by name. The bleachers. Right. And he knows you by name. Right. Know you by name, come over, shake your hand. And so, rest in peace, Tom Konchowski. I just wanted to ask you if you
he'll say good game, and that was the stamp right there.
For sure.
We didn't have all the social media and this and that and third, so we had him. And then if you was really, really on that, you had I think Streets of Smith parade, Streets of Smith magazine and all that. So that's about all we had to keep up with each other nationally or other players nationally at that time. Excuse me.
How much your upbringing in basketball, not on your personal life, but in basketball, your maturation and your upbringing, how much of that changes if social media is a part of your journey through the game? Is there any difference?
That's me personally. I would like to think that I wouldn't even been on social media.
Okay.
To be honest with you, because one thing, like you said, we from Harlem, so my block is my block, but I'm not in the streets, but I'm learning all street codes. I'm abiding by good, not nothing negative, but what's solid is solid, whether you're in the streets or you're not in the street. So I kind of live by those rules, even though I didn't have to live that life. So and I joke and it's funny because I joke with some older guys now, or even some of my peers, like, yo, man, nobody never knew nobody government names back then. Nobody never knew people you see every day, you don't know where they live. So we came up in an era where putting your business out there just wasn't cool. Now, I guess if it was everybody at that time, maybe it would have been a little different, but I'm just thinking back to how it was. Even now, I'm just amazed that, what goes on for the public. It's good for business, it's good for this, it's good for a lot of things. But man, so much information is shared. And I tell a buddy of mine, yo, why are you posting you on vacation? You telling people your house empty. That's what Harlem has shaped me.
Your mind. That's how
my mind. I grew up around all kind of people, so I know how people think. And I'm just I can't even get into it like that because my friends say, yo, we got PTSD from how we grew up because you've seen and so much that and it might not even be applicable today, but I can't never think that it can't be. So I mean, and that's kind of how it is for me at that point with that. So I would think, or somebody else would have slapped me and said, what do you put that on there for?
Take that shit down. Take that shit down.
There you go. Because even we was youngsters and we did stupid, even friends, we did stupid, stuff in the hood. The older guys would come down what the fuck is y'all doing? Y'all making this black hot. Get out of here. So I would think it would have, even if I was on it, it would have been in line, with the principles because nobody would have let me get out of pocket with that.
Got it. I appreciate that, Dave. I appreciate that, man. So like I told you, man, I've getting prepared for you and just sitting down, listening and watching some of the things that you've done over the last couple of years. I want to ask you about your journey into getting to St. John's, right? St. John's wasn't the first place. It wasn't the only place. So can you talk a little bit about, what the decision was to play college basketball and, how you got to St. John's?
It's crazy because I was like, probably when I was in high school, I was loving Syracuse. Like we always Pearl Washington fans.
Okay.
I had the privilege to get to meet Pearl and know him a little bit at that time. So I mean, I'm in my mind, I'm like, yo, I'm going to Syracuse. Like if I ever get a chance to go to Syracuse, I'm going to Syracuse. But like I said, excuse me, then I had my daughter, so I'm just like, all right, I don't even want to go nowhere far at this point. That's like my main reason. So like I said, I had to wait. We had to do the domino effect, see what Kenny do, see what Bob Hurley do. Then I was next. So once St. John's opened up, it was just a no-brainer for me at that point. I mean, to get to play in the Garden, obviously, my mom can come to the game. Mom and daughter can come to the game. And and then I'm like, all right, just the playing time is good. I thought it would be better than what it ended up being. But even at that time, I was just like, all right, I might, Boo Harvey might come back and play for a year. And shout out to Boo. That's my big bro.
Big shout out to Boo Harvey, man.
Yeah, man. I love Boo. And Boo is probably one of the most underrated guards in New York City history. For guys who don't know, man. So I was like, oh, man, I get the start of it. Even if I got to sit a year, I'm good with that. And then once I got the normalcy, you'll never hear me complain about my freshman year at St. John's ever. Because that's just how much respect I got for Boo. And put all that together, it was kind of like a no-brainer for me at that point to go to St. John's.
Yo, man, you kind of segued right into what I wanted to get into. Your first year at St. John's, Boo Harvey, played at Andrew Jackson High School. I'm from Cambridge Heights, Queens, up the block from where that school is, and so very familiar with Boo Harvey and what he meant to New York City basketball, to St. John's, just the game, period. But for you as a freshman coming in off back-to-back championships, player of the city, player of the year in the Bronx, all city, all these accolades, right? You the man, third point guard in the country, right? You go into that situation, what you learning from Boo? What was your transition like going in as a freshman? Talk to me a little bit about that.
It was tough though. Like I respected that, but it was tough because we didn't know if Boo was coming back or not. So it was kind of like I probably didn't know for sure till I was already there at that point. So I mean, like I said, I don't really complain too much about it. It was tough because a lot of my peers was playing already as freshmen. Like Kenny was starting, Bob Hurley was starting, and I believe, God bless, Dave Evans was starting. So it was a little tough,
At Georgetown, right? He's at Georgetown. Yes, at Georgetown. Yes.
So it was tough. Not that I wasn't starting, but that he wasn't like playing me. So I never had a problem with not starting, but just I'm like, bro, not to be in the rotation. That was problematic for me, to be honest with you. But I handled that way better than I did later on than other years, but because that's how much respect I have for Boo, because he embraced me like a big bro. Like, even though we competing for the same spot and it's his spot, but anytime I needed any advice or if I just asked him anything about the game, he was more than open to help me, tell me what I need, advice. So all love the Boo. Like freshman year was frustrating, but I respect it. I have no problem with it. Like playing behind Boo. I just wish I would have been playing with him a little bit and maybe 5-7 minutes behind him, and I'd have been good.
Right, you'd been good. Right.
Yeah, just let me get on the floor, bro. I ain't never sat a whole game. So I got to say
that's different.
Well, my sophomore year of high school, I did a few times, but I wasn't expecting that going to St. John's. That's for sure.
Okay. So from what you can share with us, and I know this is years later, you're a grown man, fam. It's you passed the game of basketball, but from what you can share, everybody looks, and God rest his soul, rest in peace. Everybody looks at Luke Hornacek as a legendary coach, as a guy who you would want to play for. What were the challenges and what was that initial relationship like, with him, playing for him and getting to know him as a coach, player, all that kind of thing?
Well, rest in peace to him. But as a great person, never as a person, but as a coach, we just really couldn't get on the same page. And he had one point of view, and I didn't agree with it. And so the fact that I didn't agree with it, I didn't indulge in what they wanted me to, because I'm just in defiance at this point because, and I'm not recommending nobody else handle their situation. Any kids watching, I'm not saying to do this, but I felt in my heart, if you're not playing me and I come to practice and give 100%, that means I'm co-signing what you believe. And I wasn't going to do that. So, and he'll tell me like, yo, you not playing because you're not practicing. And I'm like, no, I'm not practicing because I'm not playing. Like I'm, like I said, like, there's a lot of little mind games going on with coaches and all that too. But
for sure,
like I just gave a little history of my back. I'm too mature to you're not beating me with that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to have a sit down and say, let's start from here and let's see, I'm okay. I'm with that. But I was never being rewarded,
right?
And it wasn't going to change no matter what happened in practice. That I already figured out. So now I'm not going to be the practice dummy for you because I know I'm better than that. And we just clashed and I'm never gonna give in to somebody treating me less than my worth. So I just went along to get along, and in my mind I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna get 1 year out of this regardless. And so that sophomore junior year was just terrible, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I probably quit like 3 or 4 times, to be honest with you. But then my mom's like,
I understand that.
Yeah, I'm just like, bro, I don't, but I didn't want to transfer. Like I said, I'm staying close to my daughter at this point. And to be honest with you, life everywhere else besides on the court was great. Was cool. Like I'm living, but I'm just I'm not getting these minutes. So after my junior year, he retires, and then my coach Mahoney took over, and we just we did what we did. So I go from not playing, averaging probably 2 points to, like you said, first team All Big East. That's not a 1 year jump. Some of that was already there. I know that.
It's already right. And that's what I was going to lean into. Like, you didn't wake up your senior year and
just learn how to play.
Right, and was able to lead the Big East and assists. Was first team All Big East. Was led the team to the NCAA tournament, 20-win team. All of that kind of stuff that don't happen just because it's you figured out how to play overnight. How was the relationship with Mahoney? What was that team like? And that last year of you playing college basketball, so many guys on that team. I saw you sitting down with a big shout out to Ty Grant and Charnel Scott. I saw you sitting down with those guys. That was a great conversation. But what was that year like for you? Was that like a breath of fresh air? What was that like for you?
Yeah, nah, you hit that right on there. It's a breath of fresh air. Man, that team is still, it's crazy. That team is still well respected through St. John circles. You'd have thought we went to the Final Four for real because the first year after Lou retired, I think nobody I think we was picked 9th in the preseason. Nobody expected none of us. We had 4 new starters, but I already knew what it was because I'm like, all right, not that I'm just starting now, but it's my team. Right. I'm the leader of this team, so I can almost I can set the culture for this team now. So now I'm like, all right, let's get it. Like, first thing I know, we ain't gonna be soft. We're gonna be tough. We're gonna be blue collar. We're gonna be about our business. That I know before we even get to how good we're gonna be. Those 3 things is always gonna be on the team that I'm leading for the most part. And then when Mahoney took over, he kind of opened up the floor. We started playing up tempo. He put the ball in my hand, was like, yo, do what you do. And I'm like, I got mad love for him for that because it was his first year ever head coaching too. And and we kind of collaborated, man. Like I say it a million times, he didn't have too much pride to say what he didn't know or ask my advice. And you don't really get that from coaches too much. Like, like he will come to me to get the pulse on the team. And I'm like, which is smart because who gonna have their pulse on the team more than me? You know what I'm saying? Right. But a lot of ego don't let a coach do that. So I will always give him the utmost credit for knowing what he knew, which was a lot, and knowing what he didn't know. And we just had a great situation, and we end up replicating the same record that the team before us had with 2 NBA players. So that year is a special year. They still give us love for that year at St. John's.
That's dope. That's dope, man. I haven't got a chance to ask anybody, and I've talked to a lot of guys that played at St. John's, whether they played with him, before him, after him, things like that. But I'm sure you played with him at some point, and you crossed paths, obviously, coming from New York City. But how good was Malik Sealy?
Oh man, Malik was he was great. He was a great college player. One of the hardest working dudes. And I always intervene with this. He was such a stand-up dude, man. When you get to like good dude. I mean, we all good dudes, but he was a good dude, a good dude. Okay. And but his freshman year to his sophomore year, the transformation in his game, because for people who don't know, Malik played center in high school. Then when he got to St. John's as a freshman, he's at the small forward. Okay, he had a good freshman year, but it wasn't like it was a good freshman year. He come back his sophomore year, which is my freshman year. His jumper is just, he got the baseline drive, the baseline jumper. So I've probably out of my 4 years there, I've never seen nobody have a jump from one year to another like his jump. And once he took off, like Jason Williams was like our senior at the time, our NBA prospect, and it happened that he broke his foot that year. Okay. And then Malik just kind of stepped into that starring role, and he just never relinquished it for the rest of his career, man. And one thing I love about Malik, the bigger the game, the bigger the performance. And he competed, man. Like, and that Big East was like, he had like, man, that's when like zone.
It's a gauntlet.
Yeah. So and he was, he was slight of frame, but he didn't back down. He competed, man. I watched him and Billy Owens and him and it was just every night it was a matchup. So you just knew, and every night he was up for the challenge, man. And everybody loved Malik, everybody respect Malik, but his basketball spoke for itself, man. So shout out, rest in peace to him, man.
Oh man, rest in peace to Malik Sealy, man. I'm a huge fan coming up as a youngster, man. Huge fan of
that dude.
Of Malik Sealy. Yeah, man. Yeah. So that last year, man, y'all had a nice run. Y'all had a nice run in the NCAA tournament. This brother that you're looking at right now, ladies and gentlemen, that brother had a triple-double in the NCAA tournament, right? From a player that ain't never had a triple-double in my life, right? Do you feel that? Like, do you know that subconsciously that you're double digits in each category? Is that something you know consciously, or once the buzzer sounds triple zeros, you look at the box score, you're like, oh shit, okay.
Nah, it was crazy for that game. I knew because the bench was telling me, and it's crazy. And I don't know why, because I had like 3 games during the season where I was either 1 rebound or 1 assist short. Nobody never said nothing. So those are the ones I looked at the box score. I was like, damn, I could have just, whatever. So at that game, it was probably 3 minutes left, and they just like, yo, you need 1 more rebound. You got 1 more rebound. And I'm just like, and then, end up being able to get like 2 more rebounds. But that game I did know with 3 minutes left because the bench was like going crazy. And then come to find out it was the first one in St. John's history, which I would have never had no idea out of all the great players that came through St. John's. So that's a nice feather in my cap that I always can say I was the first one.
Yo, man, come on. Yeah. You gotta hold that with honor.
And it was in the tournament. And it's still only been about 12 of them, I think, to this day in the tournament. So I definitely
come on, Dave. You are part of a long list of great point. We talking about Mark Jackson. We talking about Boo Harvey. We talking about yourself. The list goes on. Eric Barkley, Omar Cook. We could come on. Marcus Hatton. I got a chance to sit down and talk to Marcus Hatton.
This was hell of a dude. Yeah, even Mo Brown came.
Mo Brown, shout out to that's family right there.
Yeah, we have some dudes, man. St. John, they definitely got the legacy.
When and like I told you before we got on, Mo Brown is my first cousin. He came in as a freshman. You was a senior. You kind of flip that a little bit because you were a freshman and Boo Harvey was a senior. So
yeah.
what was that like? I know Mo, big shout out to RJ Barrett. He plays for Toronto right now. His father, Roman Barrett, was a freshman on that team.
Yeah.
Did you help, guide some of those guys? Were you able to give back? What was it like being a senior for those guys?
It was cool. I know Mo was frustrated because Mo came out with a lot of the same accolades I came out with. So
right,
and it was like this. It was very similar because I was playing probably 38, 39 minutes, for the most part. So, but I always used to tell Mo, your future is way brighter than mine because you should. It's not like now you get a new crew every year. I'm like, bro, you to start point guard next year. Now, what you do with it is what you do with it. But you got 3 years to get busy, So I was like, so I always remind them, like, yo, bro, I had to wait 3 years for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, your outlook is way brighter than mine,
Okay.
And and I know as a player, you don't want to hear too much from a player. Like I said, when I was getting it from Boo, that was me going to Boo. It wasn't Boo coming to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very, wary about imparting too much on the player, especially one that's playing the one you playing in front of him. So at that point, I don't know how much he really want to hear from me. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, come to me, I got him, without a doubt. But at the end of the day, everybody competitive. So I only want but so much advice from the guy who got the spot that I want, unless unless I just can. And he probably thought, you gotta remember, now I'm going in it. He's probably thinking he's coming in to compete for the spot too, because you gotta remember, it wasn't no point guard from the year before when he came in. So I don't know what they told him or whatever the case may be. But I know when we get there and it worked out how it worked out, I know it got to be frustrating for anybody not to be, because he probably thinking the same thing. I thought I can't get 5-7 minutes. Like no point guard coming out of New York, no player coming out of New York, no coach can't tell me I am not good enough. Like what I'm going to do
on the court
is going to hurt us that bad. I'm not. I refuse to believe that. So, and I'm sure a lot of people felt that way. So I know he was frustrated at times. But the times we did speak on, I always like, bro, it's your show after this. You got 3. There's no even point guard on the roster. This is your show in a minute. Just be easy. Put your work in, it's yours. So I always remind them of that, even, the couple times during this frustrating times. Like, man, your future is bright here. You got the opportunity to do what you need to do. So it's way better than mine was at that point. So I'm not the person that complains.
Yeah, but I feel what you're saying. Y'all both coming out players of the year, right?
Yeah.
Like y'all both highly touted. Everybody in the city know who y'all are. Like y'all the guys. So
that's the hardest thing. You sitting on the bench at home. That's not the easiest thing too. You know what I'm saying?
Because you got the family, you got the friends at the crib. They come to see you.
Yeah, because after the game, you seeing everybody who was with you the whole journey. Like what they bugging, they wilding, they think coach. They, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, calm down. You know what I'm saying?
They ready to bug out, right?
Yeah, they're like, yo, they want to get t-shirts, stuff on it for the coach and all that. I'm like, bro,
Dave, you ain't got to name no names because I know you won't. But I know there's a few cats that was ready to get Lou. Where Lou at? Let me get Lou.
Bro, my block was gonna get the t-shirts with something crazy on it, and I'm like, nah, man, don't do that. But but I'm their golden child. Yeah, so it's exactly. Like if somebody violated me in the street, they'd be like, yo, what's and it was the same. They had the same energy, like, yo, what's up with this dude? Like,
right.
And then I'm just like, we just can't, we ain't gonna deal with it like that. Even my high school coach, my gouger, they're like, yo, let's transfer, let's get out of there. Like, and I was like, nah, I don't want to go to school, sit out of here. I don't want to leave my daughter. Like, I'm just gonna thug it out, and I'm gonna get this last year, and I'm just gonna. I know I'm gonna get this one. That's how that was my peace of mind. Like, bro, you're gonna get the one and do it. Like I told you before, I'm not a look that far ahead basketball dude. Like,
Got you. Yeah.
So even in that time, I'm not even thinking about the league. I really like, let me get one in, and then we'll just see what happens. If I get to go overseas, if I get to do whatever, or if I get to play, it's just whatever at this point. But I just want to get my year to play. And when I got it, I just took full advantage of it, man. And just, like, you can't ask me these questions while I wasn't playing anymore. Now you got to ask him. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
eventually he came around some years later. It was like, yo, I made a mistake, man. I made a big mistake. I made a mistake with that situation. But
does that do anything for you? Hearing that come from him, who is such a highly respected guy in the basketball world, does that do anything for you?
It allowed us to start speaking again. Let me say that, because after I got out of school, it wasn't even no reason for us to speak anymore at that point. I mean, we was on those type of terms, and so I seen him at an event. I think might have been Jason Williams, Hall of Fame, St. John's, something like that. It was at something, and he he seen me, was like, yo, pulled me close to him, like, hey man, I effed that up, man. I should have played you more. And I was like, you think? But and it's cool, but you still ain't saying, like me personally, I got my own theory, it could be right or wrong. Sometimes it's not about basketball. I know people who might not be in those locker rooms might think that's just sour grapes talk. But my theory was he always treated people who wasn't from New York better than the people from New York.
And I've never heard that. I've never heard that. That's
because
that's
just
new.
think
okay.
At that time, New York is a pipeline to St. John's. Like I told you, they didn't even recruit me. I chose them to keep it a buck. So I can always get, at least at that time they thought, we can always get kids from New York. But our starting backcourt was my man Jason from up in Syracuse, New York, and Chucky Spaulding was from Denver. Now, just think about it. As a coach or anything in business, if I do somebody wrong from Denver in New York, I'm never getting another player from Denver to come to New York. Or anywhere that's not here. So, but if I wrong a kid from New York, me getting wronged in New York ain't gonna stop E. Barkley from coming, ain't gonna stop Mo Brown from coming. Like they just had the New York pipeline. And I'm gonna go to my grave believing that. Like, because basketball wise, there's no way you can tell me, and those two are my guys. There's no way you can tell me these two guys was better than me or that much better than me where I couldn't play at all. There's nothing you can tell me about that. So and that's what I truly believe in my heart with that.
You came in there and coming behind, like you said, Boo Harvey, Mark Jackson, things like that. Was their experience, I guess, something similar to yours? Were they able to help you through those tough 2 to 3 years? I know you had a relationship with Boo, but is Mark in the mix at all trying to help you through, staying focused? You stayed all 4 years. People get up and transfer and say, nah, I'm not doing it.
Yep. I can't. Nah. No. Yeah, but his camera went out for a minute. Come on. That's the food on the counter? No. We ain't finished yet. Come here, let me see you.
I'm listening to Shannon Sharp. What happened? What's up with that?
He talking or somebody else talking about him?
Somebody else talking. They were like, come on, bro.
Bad judgment, man.
She got you.
Mm-hmm.
Step down from ESPN.
He stepped down?
Yeah, that's what I saw on the thing.
Nah, I ain't.
You ain't see that?
Nah.
I saw it on social media, unless it's not true.
I know they said I was reading earlier. They didn't fire him.
Oh.
Yeah, but he could have stepped down, though.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yep.
Awesome.
But I can't see you. Oh, there you go. All right.
How about now?
Yep, that's perfect.
See me?
Yep.
Yeah, I apologize about that.
All good.
A phone call came through, and it just killed. It just killed everything. So I apologize, my brother.
No problem.
We was we was talking about Mark. I was mentioning Mark Jackson. Was there a relationship there? Was there any tutelage, any guidance from him while you're trying to navigate, those tough years at St. John's?
Not really. Not that Mark wouldn't have been there, but I was just I was so anti St. John's, everything at that point, to be honest with you. So I probably wouldn't even been open and listening at that time. I mean, that's just the space I was in at that time, to be honest with you, bro. I wouldn't even wear nothing that says St. John's on it for those 2 years.
Oh wow.
I mean, it was like that. I didn't go to no team banquets. I didn't do nothing because in my mind, in my heart, I don't feel like I'm part of the team. So why am I coming to a team dinner? Why am I like I said? I'm not saying this was the right way to handle, but this is just how I felt at that time. So, and me and Mark was cool. Like Mark came back every summer, played ball, hoop, whatever. But at that point, it wasn't really nothing that I needed to hear from him because all I care about is playing. So he couldn't do nothing about that. And like I know I can deal with it. Like I didn't need no advice as far as how to deal with not playing, but my problem was I'm tired of not playing. So like I said, I never, like I was saying with Mo, unless somebody you go to them, I don't think there's nobody place to really reach out too much anyway. They might can offer it once, but to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have been receptive to it at that time.
Got you. So, there's for people that don't know, you got an opportunity to play in association, get an opportunity to make the team. And not only did you stay home and play at St. John's, but you got a chance to play for the New York Knicks, right? 1993, you last guy on the practice squad, that training camp type situation.
Last cut, yeah.
Talk to me about that experience, man. You obviously that's early. That's probably Riley's second year or first year, maybe. That's
second or third
year.
Yeah.
Obviously Patrick is an all-star. You got a lot of guys in there, and there's a bunch of guys trying to make that team. I think they just drafted Greg Anthony, right? He's
year before.
The year before he's there. So what is that experience like, and how do you make it all the way to the last cut of training camp?
Well, starting rookie camp, I get the invite to rookie camp.
Okay.
So, you go there. For guys who don't know, it's probably 25 guys there. We got to get it down to 12 in 2 days, right? So basically, this is jail ball going on at this point. The guys is really, I mean, it's that type of energy. So, we get it. Like, and Riley workouts was crazy at that point. So I think Jeff Van Gundy might have been running some league. So 3 or 4 guys just quit automatically just on the workouts.
Okay.
So long story short, we get it down to 12 for the 2 days. I mean, after the 2 days. But I'm 13th. They got it's 13 of us though. So Van Gundy comes to me, Jeff Van Gundy comes to me and said, "Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. We only really bought you as a favor because you went to St. John's. We really didn't know you was this good." So now I'm like, damn, here we go with the politics. I just did 3 years of politics.
Yes, and now it's coming over to the pro level.
Yeah, but I'm young. At least as far as NBA stuff, so I'm not thinking they playing these type of games there too. But I learned quickly. So I'm like, damn, all right. So he like, bro, but you can stay if you want, but I don't know if we're gonna have any minutes for you.
Okay.
Because we know they just drafted Greg Anthony the year before. So he's like, so they trying to, groom him. So he's gonna play 32 minutes out of the 48. And they had David Rivers there who played at Notre Dame. For guys who don't know, he was there when him and Rod used to go to war in college, Notre Dame and DePaul. So David Rivers was tough. So and he's gonna play the 16 minutes because they guaranteed him some money to come be in camp.
Okay.
So now I'm pissed. Like, talent can't speak for itself again. And called my agent. He's like, well, just stay because ain't nothing that was going on right now. So just stay. So I'm just like, and I just flipped it, made the best of it. At that time, the meal money was $100 a day. So I'm like, all right, every 5 days I'm gonna get 500. Like that's the what I'm saying? Let me flip that into my mindset into that. But so I stayed. Luckily, I do. After some leagues, probably 8 games. After 2 or 3 games, David Rivers, he's like, yo, I'm out. I'm going back overseas. I end up getting his 16 minutes right that he was playing.
Okay.
So now I get to play, do my thing, do well. They invite, like, yo, we want you to come back to veterans camp. Cool. Now I'm here with the big boys now, Oak and Ewan and all that. And I'm doing my thing. Because with me, I'm a point guard, and my best attribute is passing. So the better players I got, the better I'm gonna look. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
If I can't do nothing, I can get the ball to where the ball needs to go. You know what I'm saying? So we go through the training camp. I do my thing and all that. And Raleigh, and it comes down to me and the kid Eric Anderson. I think he passed away too, so God bless. They used to play in Indiana.
Yeah, rest in peace. Yeah.
So Pat Riley calls me, the day he calls me in the office, like, yo, I love everything you do. I wish this time, I think Greg and Doc Rivers is the point guards. Man, I wish I can get them to see the floor, do things you do, but this one is not my call. This is what he tell me. This one is not my call. I said, okay, all right. He said, but I want you to go to CBA, get some more experience, and just keep playing. But in my mind, all I hear is politics again, because he didn't say it, but I always felt like, and I don't want to offend nobody at this point, but the Knicks always kept a 12-man white guy on the bench for crowd. And that's pretty much what I felt what he was telling me without telling me. Because I don't see too much going on in New York that was above his pay grade. At least that's what he took. And that's what he told me. So, and I took it for that. I went to the CBA. And being that I was the last cut, the CBA rosters was already set. So I go to a situation. I go out to Minnesota. Never experienced that cold like that. So I'm not playing. It's like, yo, bro, after a month, send me home. I'd rather be home working out than people who not seeing me saying he in the CBA not playing. Because I already had like good momentum and energy built up from being the last cut in camp. Now I'm on the CBA. I can't get on the court. And same thing. Coach Bill Musselman, he don't like rookies. And it just soured me on the game, man, because it's like now it's just too many politics, too much whatever. So I just came home and I tried to go I think I tried to go to like Venezuela. A couple overseas spots, just wasn't that. And I was just like, I'm done with the politics. I don't want to go back to no more training camps. I just because the basketball just can't speak for itself at this point. And I'm not going to keep, I just fought 2 years of St. John's from being a practice dummy. I'm not going to come here and do the same thing. Now, if he would have said I wasn't good enough, I probably would have kept chugging along with it. Like, all right, you got to, but if you telling me I'm good enough, but you telling me you can't put me down, I'm like, nah, bro, I'm okay. And I just kind of, and that was my, I left it alone from there. I'm like, I'm not going to keep chasing a moving target.
Where you at right now, right? You've lived a full life, right? You got more life to live, right? You're doing your thing, obviously, in a different space in your life, right? But things that now, watching what's happening in the landscape of basketball, all this kind of stuff, right? Just experiences. Do you look back on that time and say, yo, maybe I could have did this different, maybe I could have did that different? Is there anything that you go back to and say, if I had the opportunity to spin on that, I might have spent and did something different?
Well, I think probably the only thing that give me maybe a little bit of second thought, if I would have knew Syracuse was as close as I know it is now.
You didn't know it was right there.
I didn't know. I'm just like, it's just whatever it was, anything outside of New York, like upstate is upstate, 4 or 5 hours. Right. But, so if I'd have known that, I probably would have gave that a lot more consideration. But there's no guarantee. But like I don't really harp on it because there's no guarantee that works out. Because at that time, Boeheim was notorious for over recruiting people. So and it's funny because I was the third point guard. I don't want to say my buddy, but my guy I'm cool with, Mike Edwards out of New Jersey, was the fourth point guard. He went to Syracuse when I didn't go. Next year they bring Red Autry in.
Okay.
Over him, his career is pretty much over. So
Mm.
I don't really look at it because I don't know what would have happened if I'd have made those different decisions. Like as bad as my decision was, it could have been worse. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, Red probably wouldn't have came because he knew me, but maybe the next guy would have. I don't know, but so I mean, I don't really look back at it with too much regret, man. Like I think maybe I could have handled it. If I say anything different, maybe I would have tried to be a better practice player, but I just didn't have it in me, bro. Like I'm a game player, and
You a gamer.
And I feel like if I'm earning something, I should be rewarded for it. So I don't know if I can go. I don't know. I'm comfortable with everything. Like I wish it would have played out different, but I'm at peace and comfortable with it, though. That's for sure.
That's dope. That's dope. I love that, man. I feel like the game is at least for me, my opinion, the game is in a good space. I still enjoy watching the game on a pro level. But there's a lot of different takes. Old guys don't really like the new game and all of that kind of stuff. Without doing a deep dive, because that could be a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But for you, do you enjoy today's game? And if you do, who are some of the guys that you enjoy watching? And what's your take on today's game?
I don't really enjoy the regular season. I look forward to the playoffs. Like the playoffs, I look forward to that. But my beef is not really so much with somewhat with the players, because I think this is probably one of the most talented eras ever. But I just don't think the IQ part is matching the talent. But my bigger problem is just with the refereeing, man. Like, and I'm not even blaming the referees. It's just the rules. Everything is just so geared towards the offense that when I watch a guy play good defense or whatever, I just don't like the officiating in NBA basketball at all. Like, I just feel like it's skewed towards the offense so much that guys are flopping and jumping into you and this and that. Like, when people complain that guys don't play D, I kind of see why. Because when you do lock in, 9 out of 10 the call is going to go against you. So on that aspect. But some of my players I love. I'm a LeBron guy. I like Luka, obviously Kyrie, SGA, and Joker. Those are probably my 5 favorite right now.
You like those guys?
I like those guys.
Yeah. Okay. They always, there's always this. And this is the last one for you, Dave. I truly appreciate your time tonight, brother. Thank you so much, for the opportunity to connect with you. I hope we could get you back on because we
it's all good.
Yeah, for sure. The guys that you're watching right now, any of those guys you feel like could have played in your era, and your era is like getting into that newer era, right? You played in the 80s, but you also played in the 90s where the game started to change. You seeing any guys right now that you plucked them out of this time and put them in your time and they would still shine?
You know what's crazy, man? I hate that argument. I hate that because I think great players can play in any era. Like it's really, and I just think you would adapt. And I hate when the older players keep saying that because I always say just because something is different don't make it better or worse. You know what I'm saying? So if I say this, LeBron couldn't play in that era, that's a knock. But nobody never say nothing if somebody back then can't play in this era. Then it's like, oh, it's different. Like great ones are great ones, And I don't know how a person could say LeBron can't play. And no disrespect, I'm a big Scottie Pippen fan. But I remember when Scottie was considered soft. Like everybody back then wasn't tough. Charles Smith, that's a lot of cats that was considered soft.
Yeah, say his name. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it. I know. You ain't have to miss words.
Charles Smith of the Knicks was considered soft. People thought Dwight Darby. Like, so what I'm saying is, you could be quote unquote soft and still be great if you want to call it that. So when I say when guys like, well, this guy couldn't play then, or I've been like, well, Steph wouldn't be able to do this and that, or a Kyrie. I said, well, how was the other point guards at that time doing it? Oh, well, they would get knocked down. I said, well, what did the other guards do when they got knocked down? They got up, made their free throws, and kept like it's such a myth with that stuff. Like it's crazy. It's like people fall in love with an era or a time, and they just can't shake that. I'm like, bro, if you great, you great. Like Michael can get 50 now, but nobody can play back then. Like, what we talking about, man? Like, come on. So the game is different. You would have grew up with different rules, and then you would have adapted to those rules. It's just to me, it's just that simple. Like, I don't think there's no rocket science to that. Like, you just you do what you use. I don't even think the players are soft. The rules are soft. So when these guys be like, "Oh man, the game is soft now," that's bro. The dudes is not. You're not trying to lose $1 million for slapping somebody. Like y'all wasn't getting those fines. Y'all wasn't making that money. Y'all wasn't getting fined or suspended for y'all actions. Dudes is too smart and business savvy for that now. Like, what for? What I'm gonna lose my money for? So no, I don't think that. I don't buy into that theory at all.
Yo, man, the entire conversation was a blessing, man. But those two right there, just the authenticity that you was able to provide us is appreciated, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, we had David Cain tonight, y'all. David Cain, New York City's finest, a legend coming out of New York City. David, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for tapping in with us tonight. And you got to spin the block on us, man. We got to have you again.
I got you, man. You got the number.
I'm just being honest. We could talk.
I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you later this week. Anyway, got some other stuff to catch up with you two and our mutual people. So I'll be in touch, man. We definitely can do this again.
Yes, for sure, man. Thank you so much, brother. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Talk soon. Yes.
Soon. Right. Later.
Appreciate everybody that tapped in, y'all. Everybody that tapped in. We appreciate you, man. That was David Cain, New York City's finest, tapped in with us tonight. AllBall TV YouTube channel. This is All We Live with Flea. I'll be back soon. We don't know who we're gonna have next, but we're gonna have a goodie for y'all for the next conversation. I appreciate everybody. I love everybody. Thank y'all so much for tapping in. Make sure y'all tap in the Knicks Rehab in a few minutes. I'm not sure where the game is at right now. I'm about to log off and go check, hopefully, the last couple minutes of the game. Appreciate everybody. See y'all soon. Peace.
AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
Deja un like, comentario.
Y suscribe.